So when someone who hasn't had children is telling me, "Oh no, kids don't need both their parents,"
crazy.
I find it laughable because I tell you something. Most parents will tell you that they know that their child needs both parents in their life. For you to say something like that makes no sense to me as a parent. It doesn't make any sense.
I have kids in my family that were raised single parents and whatever, or some kids in care and stuff like that. I feel like it's laughable that you just said, "Oh, my life is this, so you're wrong."
It's not. That's not what he said. He's saying my life is. He's saying my life is this, and stats back
it's
it
not about
up.
me. What about the statistics? It's about what the results are at the end of the day.
Because the way you're going, it's just like I believe what I believe, regardless of any stats. So you could see whatever stat, and you're still gonna think what you think.
Yeah, because I think you can't generalize anything in the world. I don't think anything can be generalized.
You can't.
You have to generalize.
Woo, bruh. Why are motherfuckers so retarded, bruh? What? Why are motherfuckers so stupid? So fucking stupid. You wrapped up in your feelings that goddamn much that you don't see any reality. There's so much evidence out there. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What the fuck you show her? She believes what she believes. And she's probably going to rely on the exception to prove her rule that, you know, sometimes kids may be better off with a single parent than having both their parents in the family. Like, that's just an idiotic statement to say. That is a moronic statement to say. And when you think with just feelings, you look like a dumbass. You look like a fucking jackass every goddamn time, bro. This shit is frustrating, bro. Frustrating, dog. Like, you can't talk to people like this. You can't.
You can't generalize anything in the world.
You can. You absolutely can.
You can.
You have to generalize.
Wow.
Like, unless you're a therapist giving specific advice, like, you have to generalize.
I think people are too individual to even...
You're saying you can't generalize.
You can't say women are this. You can't say so-and-so is out.
You can't say children prefer milk. You can't say, you can't say anything.
She's thinking in these fucking absolutes. Bruh, it's like, bitch.
You can't say, you can't say anything. What do you mean you can't generalize?
I just feel like I don't say anything. I don't say women are this or dogs are that or whatever is this. I just say that thing there is this and that's it. And I don't generalize.
Do dogs bark?
Some don't. My dog never barks.
So she really says some don't.
It's a thing. So now you would just argue just to be right
just to argue
in a conversation because you know dogs bark. But for you to say, "Oh, some don't," it's like that's what dogs do.
Then you can't argue anything.
You can't argue anything.
Because if you can't generalize at all, then you can't argue anything.
Yeah,
generalize apply to the majority. The majority is a fucking fact. The majority of whatever the fuck it is exists within this realm, within this space. Stop highlighting and isolating the exceptions to the fucking rule. And they do this shit all the fucking time. All the fucking time. All right, my bad.
They're always exceptions.
I'll take that back.
Do you know what I mean?
I'll take that back, and I will just say you can't generalize men and women and families.
I also think there's a difference between ideal and realism, like the reality of people's situation.
Exactly.
I think a lot of women would love to be married, but they're realistically...
But they made poor choices to not get there.
Maybe they did get married and maybe it was a bad time. But, you know, you never know the situation. But being a single mum is a lot of work. Especially if you have like 3 kids,
so
you've got to pay for them.
You don't end up as a single mum by accident.
So I'm saying don't pick it. So don't pick it. That's a choice.
Yeah, you don't end up as a single mum by accident.
And you choose who you sleep with.
I don't know.
No accountability.
Maybe if that husband was better, she wouldn't have left.
Oh, it's his fault.
It's always on the husband.
But why is
it's always on the fucking husband, right?
Maybe if she was maybe if she was better, she wouldn't have left.
I think if they both worked on it, then yeah, I think we can both agree people should work on their relationships before calling it quits. But there's a reality and ideal.
Listen, I think women should be more discerning when deciding which men they should get involved with.
Women have only recently earned, like, over the last, 20, 30 years, right, which isn't a long time period in the grand scheme of things, especially generational. It's 2 generations.
Fair enough,
it's 2 generations,
the
that's it.
consequences will still be there.
Yeah, but it's 2 generations.
What does that have to do with me today? I'm a woman. What does that have to do with me today?
Women had to rely on men for, like you said, financial support to be able to work, to be able to live, essentially. And as we've come out of that, yes, it's been, 40, 50 years, right? As we've come... Probably a bit longer. No, about 50, 60 years to say that. And they had to rely on settling to be able to get a man to be able to support them. So we are still shifting out of that mindset where you settle for something that maybe isn't that great because you...
Oh Lord, shut the fuck up. That's a reach. That's a reach. That is not taking any accountability. You trying to find any goddamn way to pick this shit apart, to not take any accountability on the situation you found yourself in. Right? Men, women, whatever. The relationship didn't work. Y'all chose to be in a relationship. It didn't fucking work. This has nothing to do with how they did shit back in the day. Women are so empowered right now, they can get whatever type of fucking man that they want. They feel entitled to do so. Women are not fucking settling. They just find themselves in stupid ass fucked up situations. Right? They pick the toxic man. They pick the asshole. They pick the bad boy. They don't pick the good man. You know, that has a lot more to do with it than what the fuck she's saying, because they're not choosing to settle. That's like the way dating is right now is so opposite of what the fuck she's trying to convey. With all the fucking standards women have in regards to they man, you're going to come out here and say they settling and they're still battling with the same shit women did back in the 1950s. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here.
You settle for something that maybe isn't that great because you have to be supported. You have to have this nuclear family situation. I grew up with two parents in the house. I grew up with a relative, two parents who were incredibly functioning society, but I was suicidal by the time I was 12. So having two parents doesn't blanketly assume that you're going to be happy.
Like those Nobody fucking said that. You just, the chances are you're going to be better off. I'm gonna go crazy, bro. I'm gonna go crazy, dog. It's this, and she sounds all studious, and you know what I'm saying. She could speak well, but she's a fucking moron. It's not her fault. It's not her fault. It's not her fault. It's when I see this shit, I just see fucking red. It's not her fault. She's been brainwashed. She's been brainwashed to never take accountability. How on earth are you gonna sit here and try to attack the advantages of being in a nuclear family versus the opposite? Of course, nothing's ever gonna be perfect, right? But there's plenty of stats out there that fucking shows you what tends to take place in single family households compared to nuclear family households.
That you read off, it's not necessarily because the kid had a single mother. There's so many different systemic issues that go into that poverty. Where you live, like different aspects. It's not just about having a single mother. You're still going to be better off with both parents.
All the girls on the panel. So, I learned this a couple of weeks ago that women are very picky when it comes to men. My question is, if you were given the choice, would you marry a guy you're not attracted to, knowing that he's going to stay in the relationship? And Pearl, feel free to rephrase my question if you feel I'm saying it wrong. So would you marry a guy that you're not attracted to, but you know he's going to stay there, he's going to provide and everything? Or would you marry the guy that's cheated multiple times, but you are madly in love with him? Who would you be with?
That's a boundary. If you're cheating,
I'll go first.
How do you...
Personally, I would say neither, and because I've been in both of those situations where I've had someone who would be a perfect option, but I wasn't attracted to them, and I've had someone that I've been madly in love with who fucked around with me, essentially. I've been in both those situations, and I think the issue is people have to think they have to settle for those situations.
So which one?
Neither.
You don't have to settle for anything.
Sorry, I don't know if it's a cop-out, but
women are not trying to settle these days. That's the fucking problem, because they don't settle, which busts them in the face 10 years down the road when they're forced to fucking settle. They out here shooting for the fucking stars the entire time, thinking they eligible for all this shit that they're not eligible for, but they get a taste of reality down the fucking road when it's fucking too late. Women do not want to fucking settle. They don't want to fucking settle. They need to fucking settle, but they do not want to fucking settle.
I wouldn't choose either. I'm not doing it. I would rather be on my own. All right. If those are my two options.
If you could give me one, life on the line, one.
I would choose the one I'm not attracted to.
Cool.
Me too.
Okay.
Yep.
I think I also have to say neither. I'm not somebody who's ever necessarily thought...
If your life is on the line, if your life is on the line, pick one.
I'd rather die. I think that's
honestly, the way you guys are answering, that's why 50% of women over 30 are single and childless.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they want to be. It's a decision.
It's not necessarily because they're also the least happy group when they hit 45 or 50.
Correct.
Because the party runs out.
Yeah,
someday no one's lining up to date you at a certain age.
Yeah. And it's not really a decision because the guys are the ones who control who gets relationships. I mean, from what I can see, it seems like the crux is you need to understand that just because you don't like your options doesn't mean you should gaslight yourself into believing you don't have any.
Right.
Yeah, and your options are just that's your level. So if you don't like the guys you can date, then you should probably try to improve yourself.
But yeah, and I completely agree with that. I believe you should work onto yourself until you're ready to be in a relationship that you want, and that's why I would rather be alone until I'm ready for a relationship that's going to be reciprocal in all ways. And I think that's the mindset. It shouldn't be about whether people are going to settle for a relationship or anything like this. People should be open to working on themselves, be open to like not being judgmental and being it's about love.
Do you think at a certain age though, it's kind of just like okay, like let's say
you living in fucking La La Land, it don't work that goddamn way, man. It don't work that goddamn way. I mean, you should always better your fucking self, but you find yourself in a situation where you found a motherfucker that's doable. You know what I mean? Why would you put that off because you waiting for everything to be perfect? You know what I'm saying? Like you have a finite amount of time on this earth. And within the dating world, it's extremely limited for women. I don't got no fucking time to be fucking out here wasting to see for waiting all the fucking stars to align and you need to manifest. Nah, fuck that. This is not Disneyland. It's not Disney World. But these women out here be thinking shit is Disney World. Like they're in total control of everything. They want everything to be fucking perfect, but nothing about life and relationships is fucking perfect, man. You got to get in where you fit in, and if you ain't fit for this shit, you gonna get kicked to the side of this shit, man. Real shit.